Welcome back to Thought Provoking, where I provoke your thought. So, today I wanted to talk about women and the obsession with being in a relationship by any means necessary. Women have a habit of wanting to be loved and in a relationship at any cost. And it's kind of sad how women will tell another woman, that's why you're single, or you're just jealous, I got a man and you don't. Meanwhile, she's in a relationship with a person she can't stand, and no one ever has the comeback message that that's why I'm happy and single. I mean, why are you chasing after someone who hurts you all the time? Is it that scary to be alone that you will allow someone to do you wrong in order to simply say you're not alone? Total BS. We as women need to have some self worth. No person on this planet is worth your mental health. I've seen too many times where a woman is in a relationship and falls head over heels for a man and way too fast, way too quick, and then turns out he's abusive, he's emotionally, verbally abusive, he's a cheater, he's a drug addict, whatever it may be. There were signs that you could have seen if you would have slowed down a little bit, but you chose that this person was it for you. I guess some people feel like it's too late now. Like, I'm already head over heels. I'm already in love with this man, and we can work through his issues. Now, my biggest thing with trying to work through someone's issues is issues are only going to get worked through if they want to. You can't go into a relationship thinking you're going to change a person, because how would that work for you? You're not going to change unless you want to change. And no one's going to come in and say, hey, this is what I want. This is like the person I see you being. You have so much potential. I think you can do better. That sounds nice, but unless that person wants to change, they're not, and they're not going to change for you. And the sad thing is, you're nothing special. Like, people always think, well, I will be different, I will be better. But in reality, it's like no one's better. But yeah, you feel like you can change someone, but you can't. There's no way that you could persuade somebody to be a better person. They do it on their own. You could ask anyone who's been in some type of toxic relationship what happens after you leave. It may seem like it was you leaving, but sometimes that's just their rock bottom that makes them change, their own realizations. You could say whatever you want to them, but until it gets through their head and they see what they're doing to their own life, they are not going to change, and you are not going to change that. But I wanted to hit on a few talking points, so let's get into it, and hopefully this would help somebody think a little deeper about the types of relationships they get into. Number one, being in an unhappy relationship is not a badge of honor. No one is out here jealous because of your abuse, and if a woman is sitting around thinking it's okay to just find anyone, you need to sit down somewhere. This is something we need to get out of our mindset. This is why men feel it's okay to manipulate you and into these toxic relationships. They need the type of woman who will put up with their crap. It's well known that they will test the waters first. It's always starts off small. Maybe forgetting a date you planned a few weeks ago, maybe calling you names in an argument, maybe he's a little too aggressive, or maybe he likes to always have something negative to say about your looks. And there's so many more things. These things down the line always turn into something bigger. I always hear women say that they saw the warning signs but didn't think it was a big deal. Don't trap yourself into these relationships just because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to end up in a situation where you're like, well, I should have known. Like, now I'm in a shelter, I'm crying to my mom, I'm crying to my friends because I decided to ignore the warning signs because I didn't want to be alone. And it's okay to be alone because you wouldn't end up in these negative situations. You teach people how to treat you. So if someone's calling you names and it starts off slow and you're like, oh, ha 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 ha, he didn't mean it that way. No, more than likely he did, and he's trying to see how much he can get away with. This is like manipulation 101. Start small and wait till it gets big. And also, always, always, always be careful with someone who's trying to get you away from your loved ones. If it turns out you're seeing the people you love the most less and less, then that's a problem because the time they know when you're around them and not around your family, that leaves space for your family not to know what's really going on. And it's always important to have your family, your friends, people around you to know what's going on. Now, they don't need to be in your relationship because if you decide to stay in a toxic relationship after constantly complaining, then it's going to be left up to the point where people don't want to be around you. They don't want to constantly give you advice for you to keep doing the same thing and wasting their time. Also, if you're taking advice or constantly asking for advice and never actually putting it into effect, don't ask for advice. Don't hear yourself talk. If you want to just rant, let it be known that you want to rant. But don't waste someone's time coming with oh, I just need advice, I don't know what to do. And they give you valuable advice and you not take it and come back 2 weeks later asking for the same advice. It's just not worth it. But like I said before, don't trap yourself because you don't want to be alone. Thought number 2: therapy before a relationship. I can guarantee we've all been heartbroken one way or another. We all have childhood traumas in which we need to work on, and we all have that one relationship that sent us over the edge. Humans have a habit of repeating cycles. The thing is, most feel they can change a person. We will search out similar situations, similar people in order to succeed the next time around. It's important to learn how to let go. You need to learn that you don't necessarily need closure. That's just an excuse to potentially get someone back around. I always tell people sometimes there is no closure. Sometimes you just like if a person leaves, you just need to be okay with that. You can't let that harbor on your heart because then it might drive you crazy. It might leave you with the feeling of, I need to talk to this person. I need to understand why. I just need to know. But that's really your own insecurity speaking because no matter what they say, you're still going to feel like you need closure. If the point of people saying they need closure is that they want someone to come back around, but you need to create that own closure with yourself and say, it's okay that you're gone. I just need to move on. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I know that sounds easy, but it's harder than you think. We like to believe we're honest with ourselves, but we're not. Also, most of you know and see what's really going on, but are in denial of the truth. Maybe you feel embarrassed, you don't want to hear, I told you so, but your pride is getting in the way because I can guarantee your loved ones would rather see you truly happy than to find out later that you were miserable and extremely unhappy the whole time in your relationship. Also, check yourself. Sometimes it can be you who's toxic because you don't know how to be in a healthy relationship. So you subconsciously try to ruin the relationship and try to test a man in order to prove his love. And when he leaves, you're like, see, but was it him or was it you? And this leads back into going to therapy, getting your health in check because People who end up in relationships, they think that someone can fix who they are. This goes back to you trying to fix who someone else is, but it's all ultimately it's up to you to fix the situation. You shouldn't get into a relationship looking to mold someone to be your perfect person, and you also shouldn't get into a relationship thinking that someone's going to make you a better person. Only you can make you a better person. Someone can assist, someone can advise, but someone is not going to make you a better person. And sometimes it just takes therapy to work through those issues that have you looking outside of yourself for validation. So just remember to get your mental health in check so you can make the best decisions possible. Boundaries. Let me say that again. Boundaries. I've gone to therapy myself, so I'm not just preaching to the choir. The biggest thing I've learned was how to set boundaries. You see, the most disrespect will come when you allow people to cross your boundaries. By crossing boundaries, I mean setting standards. People are allowed to occasionally fall below those standards, but it's ultimately up to you to make it well known that you're not going to allow it. Let's be honest, I didn't know what boundaries were. My therapist was like, "What are your boundaries?" And I was like, I, I don't know. And so it took me a while to figure out what my boundaries were and set them up. So I'll give you some examples of what boundaries are because it sounds simple now that I can understand it, but before I truly didn't, so I'm not going to assume that you do. Like some examples I could give: if you don't like being yelled at and feel that's not the way to communicate, express that. That is your boundary. If someone yells at you unprovoked, then they have crossed your boundary. Don't just sit back and allow someone to treat you as they feel. Make sure they understand, and if they do it again, they have crossed your boundaries and it's maybe time for them to walk away, or it may be time for you to walk away. If you tell your man you don't accept cheating and he cheats, you need to leave him alone. And I say leave him alone at the end of these scenarios because when someone is willingly crossing your boundaries and does it constantly, you're putting the signal out there that you're just all talk, and they know if they keep messing up, you'll stick around. So, yes, you may complain for a little bit, but in the long run, you're not going to leave. So, they'll keep doing it and accept the little tiny hit they get, but they'll keep doing it because you keep allowing it. But if you walk away, you're not allowing it. And they know they'll lose you. But it's not a bluff, it's you really walking away. And if you decide to get back with someone, and they've begged for you back and they're trying to prove that they're changed, so be it. Me personally, I don't take exes back. I will tell you straight up before anything starts. If I give you chances and chances within the relationship and it ends, it's over. I'm not the one. You can go find somebody else to screw over. I'm not the one. And some people may say that's why you're single, but at least I'm happy. I've had men ask me why I don't lower my standards for them. And the reason is because if you expect me to meet your standards, why am I not allowed to have a man meet my standards? If I tell you what's required for you to date me and you do not meet those requirements, you're not going to guilt trip me into dating you. When you go to a job interview and you don't meet the requirements, you don't just get the job. Sometimes, if you meet most of the requirements, you may get the job, and the same goes with dating. We don't do participation trophies around here. Just because you go on a date means absolutely nothing. I carry mace and I carry a gun. 2020 is really the year of fuck around and find out. What really happens when you lower your standards for someone, you begin to have a wandering eye. They know you're not their choice and they don't respect you essentially. You start to think, is there someone else out there? is, am I going to find someone who truly treats me the way I want to be treated? I met this man and he said that he would be better if I just stick around. He really likes me and I'm feeling lonely and I shouldn't overlook the good guys, but he keeps cheating. He keeps lying. He lives like a pig. He doesn't want to better himself in life, but yet you're here working. You're here doing everything you can to make the relationship work. And now you're basically mama number two. You have these standards because your life experiences have told you this is what you need to feel successful in a relationship. Not everyone has the same boundaries, nor do they have the same standards, which is why you should never lower your standards for someone, because their life experiences were different than yours. What they accept in their life is different from yours, and that should always be something you ask about. It's what someone's boundaries are when going into a relationship, so that you guys could both clarify. Everyone in the situation needs to understand that's okay. There is someone out there who will fit that man's standard, and there is someone out there who will fit your standards. Don't force yourself into a situation because you feel bad that someone's upset because you don't like them. It's just life. People don't like you. Go find someone who likes you. Don't put yourself in situations where you have to fight for someone to like you. Simply like you, not love you. Just find an interest in you. Go where you're wanted. I don't know why people these days have a habit of going where they're not wanted, but I will continue. Now, there's another side to this coin when it comes to standards. Sometimes your qualifications are just unrealistic. You need to look at yourself and make a list of qualifications and separate them into what you will compromise on and what you won't compromise on. This is important because no one will ever meet your standards completely, but you need to know what to compromise and what not to, and only you will know. Finally, happy and single. I'm not saying you have to go out here and be like, F man, I hate man, men ain't shit. That's not what I'm about. I'm saying be okay with being alone. Generally, those who aren't comfortable with themselves and being alone search for relationships to fill a void they themselves cannot fill. When you become content with yourself and learn yourself, you understand why you do the things you do. You begin to see why that void is there in the first place and begin to work on it. Spiritually, most people call this shadow work, where you're working on that part of you you've pushed away for so long.
Remember, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
This is so very true because you'll project all of your insecurities onto your partner and accepting a life that's less than you deserve. Everyone deserves to be happy, and those who choose to mistreat someone are choosing not to heal themselves. Choose to heal yourself. When I say I'd rather be happy and single than unhappy in a relationship, I truly mean that. No person on this planet is worth my happiness. I've worked too hard to get here. A relationship should not be stressful all the time. You shouldn't have to argue every single day. Screw what society says. When it comes to a relationship, you are not complete with another person. You are complete with yourself. I hope this reached a few women. If this spoke to you or you feel a friend could hear this, please like, share, and subscribe. And let me know your stories and how this has made you feel. Thank you, and I will see y'all in the comments if I have any right now. Bye.